Hi, welcome to edtech. Today is the second session of my tutorial on CSS Grid. So I call it CSS Grid Part B. I'll be discussing about grid template columns property. Let's get started. Let's go to our HTML file and start coding. Okay, within the body, I do my H1 first. Let's give it a title. Because this tutorial is all about grid template property, columns property, so we give it that title. And then we want to make a smaller heading. This is just for your record so that you remember it later. H2 we make so that you remember the reason why we are talking about this. Just to make a good note of it, when you talk of columns property, what does it specify? Width. This is very important to remember. You'll see that when the structure is made. Now let's make the container. Div class. Let's call the container alphabets. So this serves as a container for the whole structure. Now for the individual items which are inside, we give different divs. So the div class for item 1. Let's call it letter A. Close the div. So let's copy paste for 8 because we have just to make it faster. So now we have 8 items. Let's change the item numbers in the same chronological order. Item 6, item 7, there you go, item 8. So now you have 8 items, div for them. Div class with item 1 until item 8, and then you have to change the names accordingly. First one is A, second one B, C, so that you can identify in your structure. E, next one is F, G, as you remember your alphabets right, haha, H. So you have 8 alphabets here, right? So accordingly 8 open and close divs with the class of item 1, item 2, item 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Here the div is already closed. Okay, now what we do, this looks ugly without the CSS, so let's get started with our CSS. Our container is called alphabets, right? The class is alphabets, I mean. So for the CSS we have to use dot alphabets. Okay, give it some display. So since this class is about display, this class is about grid display, so grid template columns. This class is about grid template columns, so you select that. Now there are various ways of doing it. So first I would do auto, as we showed last time, so that it automatically fills up the space according to the number of columns. So let's do 4 auto. As I want to make 4 columns. Oh, sorry. Grid gap. We already discussed about the gap in the gutter area. That's, let's say, 10 px. Background color. Let's say royal blue or rosy brown. Padding, let's say 10 px. Text align, because we want to make it nicely centered. Save. Okay, it looks like this. Still not complete, right? We just made the container box. Okay, let's make it more proper. Now we style the div inside the alphabets. So dot alphabets, and then inside that the div. So we show it like that. So div is the one inside the container, which is alphabets. Style that. Sorry. Background color. Let's say red. Text align. Padding 20 px. Padding 20 px. Font size 25 px. Color white, so that it looks nice and proper. See how nice it looks. Okay, save. Okay, now in this scenario, let me change the view. As you can see, this is the width that is showing. In this case, it is all same. It's all the same because it's auto. Let's change the auto. Let's give it width. First column 99 px, second one 160 px, third one make it auto. You can even mix them up. Last one, fourth one 100 px. Let's see how it looks like. There you go. So 99 px. The auto part is like this because it automatically takes up the available space. If you want to make it more even, either make it all auto or you can adjust the width. Sorry, I made a mistake here. Now you can see the whole container is not filled in because there was no auto. That's why when we mention auto in one of them, one of the columns, it will fill up the remaining space. But here, since we specified the width and each of them equal, so it will only take up that much space. This is just to give you an idea. So I change it back to auto. Or you can even do so as you can see, when you give them bigger dimensions, you can mix and match and see it will fill up the space. So that is totally up to you. But as of now, since you have an idea, fair idea of how to do, I go back to doing the auto 4 times. So that it's nicely filled up evenly, widthwise that is. So this is all about the grid template columns property, how it specifies the width by doing the dimensions for grid template columns and by setting the display to grid. So you have an idea of how to place these 8 items inside the grid using the grid template columns property. In the next class, I'll be talking about grid template rows property. I'm doing such mini sessions so that it's easier for you to grasp and understand easily and there's no confusion later on. So I'll be taking the sessions in bits and bits, micro lessons, which is much easier to understand and you'll remember it forever. So if you want to really develop your skills in computer programming, web development and web designing, and then rev up your resume, I would suggest that you sign up for this class and subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet. See you in the next class. Ciao.